All right. So before I officially jump in, a few words of thanks. One is thanks for bringing me here, and thanks for allowing me to crash the party last night, which was amazing. Love the costumes. But also, too, thank you for going out and spending your time serving in the community. I think that's something that many companies, unfortunately, don't do with their conferences. And so, to me, it's a breath of fresh air to see you out serving. And I heard that it was 2022, the care packs that were made yesterday. So really cool stuff like that. But you rolling up your sleeves, giving back, making a difference, taking your time out of your conference to do that. One, that means a lot to me. Also, to see last night the way that you honor servant leadership, service, performance, integrity, those are things that are extremely important. So when you look at the ethos of your company, one, for me, someone who travels all over the world working with companies, especially regarding corporate philanthropy, it's really amazing to see. So I do want to thank you for that as well. Putting that as a priority, servant leadership is extremely important. Also, too, I mean, I think that when you look at the stats and what you guys are doing, it's very impressive. I mean, look at the amount of money that you're donating, the amount of volunteer hours that you're giving back in the community. Those are things that I look at when I'm looking at companies and their impact. It's really neat to see that you guys are heavily involved in the communities that you live and work and serve in. So thank you. Also, I will say thank you because the books that are on your tables there, 100% of the proceeds goes to support youth literacy programs. So we've been able to raise tens of thousands of dollars simply by people like you, companies like yours, saying, hey, this is important, this is a priority, but we want to provide books to all of our attendees. And next thing you know, we're able to make a huge difference when it comes to youth literacy. So know that the book you're reading and the book that you have also supports children reading as well. All right, so this is a little bit of my story, so I'll kind of share you my story, what I do, because it's kind of hard to explain, but then I'll talk a lot about just some of the things that we cover in Forbes, which is going to be reinforcement for what you're doing as a company. And I think it's an understanding the trends that are going on in corporate philanthropy, why it's so important. I think it'll definitely put a smile on your face to see that what you're doing is making a difference, but it's also critically important to your business. And then I'll share some tips that I think you can take back to your home and business as well that will help you be even more successful when it comes to giving back and making a difference. So, my story. I was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Grew up primarily, okay, that's good. I'll take that. Grew up in Texas, though, in Dallas-Fort Worth area, so not too far from your corporate headquarters. Yes. So if you know where Weatherford, Texas is, I was a kangaroo, and my parents still live in Weatherford, Texas. I went to Baylor and University of North Texas, so I'm, definitely Texan. Yes, sick and bears. So played tennis at Baylor, not when we were the national champions, but played tennis at Baylor. So I grew up in Texas, and my parents had an open door policy. So 2 a.m., 2 p.m., it didn't matter. If you lost your job, down on your luck, going through a divorce, going through any difficult time, my parents would basically be there with an open door saying, hey, we'll feed you, we'll take care of you, we'll offer advice. My dad was in the insurance business. My mom was a school teacher. 99.99999% of everything that people had problems with had nothing to do with insurance and definitely had nothing to do with my mom teaching English. And so for my brother, who served 20 years as a U.S. Marine and now lives in Germantown with us, which is really close, absolutely amazing to have him and his two young kids nearby because we've been apart for 20 years. But my brother and I grew up seeing the impact of just having an open door policy, knowing that they were there for anyone who was down on their luck. And what we saw was the more that my parents just genuinely helped, the more opportunities befell our company or befell our family. And so the next thing you know, we're hanging out with people like Jerry Jones, the Dallas Cowboys, and going on the field and hanging out with Texas Rangers, stuff that a normal family would never have access to. It was simply because my parents were there to help others. And the best story, it's not in the book, but I think that articulates the power of just being genuine and authentic and helping, is that my brother always wanted to be in the Marines. So as soon as he hit 18, he signed up for the Marines, much against my parents' dismay, because they didn't really want him to go off. They wanted him to stay home and stay local. But that was his dream. And so he signs up. Before he goes out to boot camp, though, his eyesight wasn't very good. He got pre-approved for LASIK surgery there in Texas. So he has the surgery, goes out to boot camp, gets out there, and they have the moment of truth. And for some weird reason, my brother decides at the moment of truth that he's going to say, hey, I know it was just approved in Texas, got LASIK surgery. I'm excited to be a U.S. Marine. And they're like, well, wait a second. That may have been in Texas, but that's not federally, so we're going to kick you out. So my brother, in tears, calls my parents, and he says, hey, they're kicking me out. This LASIK surgery, which we thought was approved, is not approved. So my parents basically get the base to give them 48 hours. They say, if we can't figure this out in 48 hours, you can ship our son home. So my parents call every sort of favor over the years that they've helped others with. They get all the way to Congress, to the Appropriations Committee. They get someone who knows a 4-star general who's on vacation from Quantico to basically give my brother the green light to stay in the Marines as kind of the guinea pig to see if LASIK surgery will be federally approved. So we get out to graduation, and we're there, and the commandant sends a special team to go and find us, because they're like, who in the world is this family that can get a 4-star general out of Quantico on vacation to approve this kid, this no-name kid, to stay in the Marines? And so he's literally expecting like Tom Hanks. And in walks my dad, who's, average, overweight, normal-looking guy, and my mom, who's, the same. And they're walking in, and he's looking at him like, who in the world are you people? And my dad says, I simply help people. And when I need help, others will turn and help me.